Hello, parents, grandparents, future parents, and curious minds. Welcome to the podcast. I'm Steven.
And I'm PJ.
And this is
Dad's Discuss.
So, PJ, fitness. How you been doing with it?
How have I been doing? That is a wonderful question. I have always been someone who has that at like the back of my mind, if you will. There are times where I'm very involved, religiously tracking my calories, going to the gym. Then there are times where I see a buffet and I'm like, personal challenge
Yeah,
accepted.
boy.
It's on. Yeah, I would say I'm more in the ebb right now of
Okay.
that, but something that I do always actively think about. How about you?
Yeah, it's obviously on the forefront of my mind every year because I go to Dragon Con in Atlanta every season it rolls around, and I'm part of a fitness group for that. And year after year, I fail to meet the standards I want to be a part of the group. So it definitely weighs heavily on me, especially when summer rolls around because that's cutting season for all the Spartans.
Oh,
And
of course.
I sit there and watch everybody struggling through not eating, and I try and do it myself, and I always end up failing because I can't cut that last little bit down,
Yeah.
or I started too late and things like that. But I'm like you, I ebb and flow a lot. I had a really bad season growing up as a kid with fitness, and then I started playing ice hockey and the pounds just melted off.
Okay.
And I got really fit for a while there. And then, college, I think we both kind of let ourselves go
It
then.
It does.
And then post marriage, we really looked at ourselves in the mirror and we were like, we need to make a change. And that's when I joined the Spartans and I got really fit. Probably the strongest I've ever been, the lightest I've ever been, the fastest I've ever been. And then we had a kid post marathon, and it's just squeeze in fitness where you can. Well, we're in the parenting podcast, so squeeze in a workout, squeeze in eating right wherever you can, fit it in the cracks, and try and feel better about yourself and cut yourself some slack.
Oh yeah, you can never be too hard on yourself, but you always want that feeling of, constant progress, or, making sure that you are, happy with yourself, but also pushing where you can be. We were in the same boat, me and my wife, Kimber. We used to go to the gym very regularly and we were taking walks very constantly. But then after we had our youngest daughter, it just kind of became a little bit more difficult to find that time. Our other kids were older, so we could leave them at the house for an hour and go to the gym. Couldn't do that when we had, a newborn.
Right. Yeah, that's what staved everything off for a while was having one kid, because we live so close to downtown. It's a 1.5 mile walk there and back, and then another 1.5 miles back, and she refused to be in the stroller. And so I would just carry her, and we were going once or twice a week to stuff downtown just for
Nice.
exercise and things to do. And so that kept me toned for the longest time. And then number 2 rolled around and everything, and obviously COVID and things like that slowed some stuff down.
Absolutely, it did.
Yeah, because I went from the mindset of, for me, waking up, I can't jump into a workout. I've got to give myself a little bit of time. So I used to be a 5 a.m.er at the gym where I'd have to drive 20 minutes, drink a little energy thing on the way, and then I'd be ready to go and I'd power out a workout pretty easily.
Okay.
But now it's like I wake up and I'm like, I don't have a drive.
Yep.
I don't have a drive, so I can't. So I've just been kind of trying to figure out something to do for 10, 15 minutes and then...
Yep. I think schedule is such an important aspect. And you hear people who have fitness definitely on the forefront of mind. They talk about how important that is to them. Like they feel like something's off if they don't make their workout, or if they don't eat, what they were intending to. But it's a lot easier, at least in my opinion, to schedule time for fitness or for yourself when you don't have the children. So us as parents just have to try and find that balance between being able to or fitting that in for yourselves, but also to be there for your family.
Yeah, it makes it so hard because, before the kids, it's like, I'll just make the schedule, and now it's chaos. So chaos reigns supreme. But I'm trying to get morning workouts back into my diet because, like you said, when people are consistent, they crave it. And that's definitely how I felt the year that we dedicated to run every day. Even if it was half a mile or a mile, we ran every day. And it was like once that year was up and I didn't have that goal and I was searching for new goals, like the days I didn't run, I was craving it sort of thing.
Yeah, it's funny how that happens. Like you get to that point where you do crave it, and I know I was there, but then it slowly fell off as I had more responsibilities, like taking care of the newborn and everything. And then now I look back on it, and I'm like, what does that feeling feel like? Because now I don't feel that, and I want to be able to get back to that point.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it really helps because I know a few of our running friends, they had kids that loved being in a stroller. So they just, once they were able, put them in a running stroller and could go out for runs with them. And I
Are you
was so
serious? That's
jealous.
not possible for mine and your child.
Not mine.
Not mine either.
They don't sit still. I was at least able to carry her back and forth places. That lends itself to its own danger. One night I fell while carrying her and
Really?
I got a new watch because I had to swoop my hand up under her head when we fell.
I'm glad to hear that you did
My,
that, but ooh,
yeah, it was scary. Stroller's a lot safer, I think.
very much so.
When they hate it, right?
Yeah, the whole scheduling aspect to me is probably the biggest hindrance that I have because I can work out with the best of them if I just actually, dedicate the time to do it. But it's
Right.
just finding that time.
Yeah. And the older bodies don't help either. I mean,
Are you calling me old?
we're older than I was when I was powerlifting and stuff, but
Fair
it's
enough.
still not outside the question. There's the guys in my fitness group that are 40 plus and they're pulling more weight than I've ever pulled, so there's still hope for us yet.
Yeah. Now our oldest, he's now 18 and has the time to dedicate to that, and I can see his dedication and just how much it's paid off. You look at pictures of what he used to look like a year ago versus now, and he's going to turn 19 in a month, and it looks night and day. Like it's
Yeah.
amazing what you can allow your body to accomplish if you have the time and set your mind to it.
Right. And how'd you instill that in him? Did he figure that out himself?
I really feel like we had instilled that in him a little bit, but mostly it was his own determination and drive. He played football the last 2 years of his high school career. Unfortunately, ended up getting a season-ending injury his
Oh,
senior
geez.
year. After his injury healed up, he still had that base of being able to go into the gym, lift, and everything like that. And him and a couple of friends, they got themselves a gym membership and have just been very dedicated and going. And I would say he's probably up there at least 5 times a week. And
Nice.
he's pretty dedicated about what he eats as well. So,
Okay.
yep,
Yeah, I mean that's 80% of the effort, right? Is
it
what you
really
put into your
is.
body, and that's never the easiest thing as a parent because you're trying to find energy somewhere, and a lot of the times, at least I know I've turned to food or drink to keep me going, whether
Oh,
that's
absolutely.
4 extra coffees that I didn't need, or that extra set of veggies question mark on my plate.
I'm definitely in the coffee boat myself. I need a little caffeine. And it's funny because when I was younger, I used to look at the people who would say, "Oh yeah, I'll have like 3 cups of coffee in a day," and I'm like, I don't think I'll ever get to that point. Well, I've made it to that
Yeah.
point. So,
Somewhere along the lines of your 30s, you
right?
find that it's a necessity.
That Czech knees light came on, and I started drinking more coffee. But now, what you said about nutrition is just such a big part of it. And I know that, especially for me, the times in my life where I've been at my most healthy has been when I have been more dedicated about like calorie tracking.
Yeah.
And so I know that's not for everyone, but for me, that's probably one of my biggest. If I know what I'm ingesting, then I can make sure to better avoid the things that I really probably shouldn't be having. And one of the
Yeah.
reasons why I'm now at one of the biggest I've been is I have fallen back into a bad habit of drinking sodas. And
Mhm.
if I can get back to the point of not drinking sodas, which is where I was, that can make such a big difference, even though I may not be going to the gym as often as I used to.
Yeah, just controlling what you intake. Well, I mean, we talked about cutting season for the Spartans, and that's both been my most healthy time and my most miserable time. 'Cause
Oh, that mental health is
cutting
hell too.
season, yeah, cutting season just takes it to an extreme because you're in a deficit of larger proportion than you normally would be, and it's not maintenance cycle. It's trying to get every last pound down while not being unhealthy. So I think for a while there it was my recommended calories for my body was like 1900 for maintenance, and I was eating at like 1600.
Oh, okay, yep.
So, and doing my workouts, it was low energy.
Very, very low.
But
Yes.
like those, you're talking about caffeine, and I didn't need caffeine then when I was working out on low
It's
calories and
amazing what a
just doing
regular, yep,
exercise.
what a regular workout can do for your energy levels. I
Yeah,
agree.
yeah. That's why I want to get back to it because I'm tired of being tied to the coffee maker. Even though it's still
Excuse me,
I
everyone. I
find
need
it
to go
delicious.
untie Steven from the coffee maker.
Help.
No, I know exactly what you mean, but it's funny how I have all this knowledge and I know what works, but it's just putting it into practice.
Execute.
Yep.
Yeah. That's why I think it helps talking about it because we justify, at least, I don't know if this is you, but for me, it's I wake up in the morning, I could go to work and be there early and not do a workout in the morning, and I get my afternoons back with the kids. And so it's like, to me, that's more beneficial because I get more time with my kids than that workout in the morning. And maybe I can work out in the afternoon with the kids, but that never happens. So
Yep.
I
Yep.
always try and justify I'm going to get my afternoons back, and then things come up at work and you find out that you got to stay late.
Yep. Yep. Everything,
You know,
everything ends up happening just when you least expect it.
right.
No,
And then it's just a downhill cycle. If you don't dedicate that time to it, then you're going to be lost, I think. Or at least for me, I can't get the chaos to work.
no, I definitely am in the same boat, except for the fact of the early morning workouts. And Stephen and all of our listeners, those of you who have the mental willpower to wake up and have a workout in before starting the rest of your day, I salute you because that was never me.
Oh man. I
I
don't
was always one of those ones who I used to go to the gym on my lunch breaks or right after work. And I know that's when it's most crowded, but
yeah,
I could not wake up earlier just to have a
work out.
workout.
There's quite a few morning workout people, at least back in the day. I have the home gym now, so I don't go to any gyms anymore, but I can just when we're done here, I can just go pump some iron. So
See, so we try and make it as easy as we can on ourselves, and still we find ourselves not finding
yeah,
the time to fit it
yeah.
in.
Granted, fact that we have it has meant that I've gotten to maintain a little bit of strength because the kids will come down and play in the garage while I'm lifting weights every once in a while, but
That's good.
it's just few and far between, sadly.
Yep.
Catherine is able to work with that chaos a lot better than I can. Oh, hey, I've got 10 minutes of downtime. I'm going to do a hip workout for 10 minutes or something like that. And
That's
she'll get like
fantastic.
3 or 4 of those in the day. And I'm like, my brain doesn't work that way. I need a 1 hour block and I need to go hard.
Right.
I can't just turn it on and off for 10 minutes.
But that is something that maybe you can, look into if you try because you can see that, sometimes it is hard to find an hour block, but
Yeah,
it's a little bit easier to be able to find a 10 or 15-minute window every once in a while through the day.
it is true. And that's why, well, it's not a 10-minute block, but one of the other things to get around is playing Ultimate Frisbee because we'll bring the kids and they'll play on the soccer field and stuff while we play Ultimate. So
And that's
that,
an active, like at least you have
yeah,
activities or hobbies, if you will, that are physically active.
right.
That's good.
Yeah. It helps. I'm training for a half marathon right now. That's
Okay.
in a couple weeks. So I did 8 miles yesterday. So hopefully 13 ain't too bad.
Me and Steven we're numbers guys, so help us out, Steven. A half marathon is 13
13
miles?
miles.
All
So
right.
I survived the 8 miles. So 13 should be accomplishable, but it'll probably be my slowest half marathon yet because, like I said, the weight's up and the training's low and few and far between, but
But
We'll
going
get
ahead and
there.
signing yourself up, it can be the first step into having that motivation of, I really want to,
Yes.
try and get some practice in before this event happens.
Yes. It has been very motivating. It does help because I wouldn't have been running without that and without a neighbor friend who is running with me now. So did the
Good.
first 5 miles with me, and that helped a lot.
I have never done that. There was a time where I was running 5Ks at a pretty regular interval, have since stopped that, unfortunately, but a half marathon or full marathon, never been in my repertoire.
Oh man, halves are like the best distance for your time and just feeling fit, sort of thing.
Okay. All right.
I prefer 5Ks too because I'm more of a sprinter body. My body doesn't hold up too well with long distance, but that's also why I think halves are fun
Okay.
because I did the full marathon and it was a bit too much. But the half marathon is like I can maybe plan out 3 months ahead of time to get in shape for.
Okay.
But the marathon takes so much longer
Oh
to
yeah,
train
so
for.
much preparation. It really
Yeah.
does.
And you gotta block out. So a half marathon, I've finished before in like an hour, 45 minutes. So that's not too terrible time out of your day. But I want to say training for the marathon, there was several weekends where it was almost 4 hours just out on the road trying to get that last mile in, but you're dying.
And I do enjoy lifting, and luckily that's the one type of exercise that my body responds to best. Running has never been something that I can like really force myself to get into.
Yeah.
Even though I was doing those 5Ks, the whole time I was running them, it just felt like a chore, like I wasn't
Mm,
enjoying it. So I highly suggest anyone who's, into fitness now or who's thinking about getting into it, find yourself an activity that you actually enjoy doing.
yeah.
Because if it's something you don't like, for me, running, I'm never going to keep consistent with it because I actually didn't like it.
Yeah. And something you can bring your family into helps a lot too. I know one of the good friends we grew up with side by side, they moved down to Michigan semi close the same time as my parents. They had a whole family of runners. Like that was their family activity was to run together.
Wow.
And now like one of the daughters, like I think she ran a marathon recently and she had a kid like 6 months beforehand or something. It wasn't, don't quote me on those numbers, but it blew my mind away how fast she bounced back just because they've all ran their whole lives
Yep.
together. So
Okay.
they're all like super fit when it comes to running. And if you can do it as a family, well, that's probably when my fitness will peak back up into a more extreme and successful time is when all the kids are past 5 years old and they can come out on runs with me and
Okay.
be more sustainable. Right now,
No,
it's tricky. Like you said, when a newborn arrives, you're like, I can't leave for 30 minutes or whatever.
I think that's a good suggestion is to, get the family involved. We want to spend as much time as we can with our loved ones. And if fitness is something that everyone has on their mind, getting everyone involved doesn't make it seem so much as a chore as, hey, this is like family time. Like we're all doing this activity together.
Right.
We had the opportunity before we moved. There was a lot of what were called greenways or paved walking trails,
Mm,
and we used to go on them very religiously. And that was at one of the points where I was very fit, and having that opportunity to just be able to like walk or jog those trails together
yep.
was, yeah, both a bonding time and also, yeah, a physical fitness activity that I did enjoy.
Nice. Yeah, they have Huntsville's getting more and more greenways. You just need to move up here now.
Okay, all right. Well, I just need to
Take
start doing that.
advantage.
Got it. No, that was a lot of fun. But of course, that was back in the time where our youngest was a little bit more willing to stay seated in their stroller because she couldn't
Yeah.
walk. But now it's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I don't want to be in my stroller.
Well, it's time for you to run, kid.
Can you keep up? And then sometimes she runs faster than me, and I'm like, now I have to keep up. All right.
Yeah, luckily our oldest is not quite fast enough to outpace me yet. So. But like I said, I'm a sprinter, so it'll take her a while to get up to my speed.
But then when she gets to that point and she's outrunning you, you're like, all right, keep going.
Yeah.
You got this.
I'll see you next week. Dad's gonna come back here and stretch.
Now, I think we had talked about this before, but our age, and eventually you want to see yourself being in a position where you can see your children grow up and potentially even grandchildren. So
Yeah.
fitness is always and should be at least on the back burner of everyone's mind, because it is such an
Or the
important
forefront.
aspect. Or yeah, exactly. But if it's not there at all, there's just such a higher chance of you not being
Yeah.
able to be there
Yeah.
later on.
Right. And the temptations in America are astronomical when it comes to the diet side of things.
Yep.
So, we do have one of the highest obesity, or the highest obesity rate. I don't really know what the numbers are as far as countries go, and a lot of it's because of the highly palatable food and things like that. You drive home and there's 6 restaurants between you and cooking dinner, and
Yep.
it's insane.
And then not only that globally, but also just within this nation, we happen to live in one of the more high obesity rate states of all the
True.
US. So it's just, even more of an opportunity to put off fitness when there's so many opportunities to grab something to eat and all. So
Yeah, and French fries are delicious, but
they are, and
they are
I do love
so packed
pizza.
with calories. And Guinness is fantastic, but
Yes, thank you.
it's a treat every once in a while.
It is, and for those listening, we are recording this particular episode on St. Patrick's Day, so me and Stephen are celebrating with a little Guinness.
Yes, sir. And we got some Hellcat Maggie lined up for later.
Which, for those of you who don't know, what is that?
It's a Irish whiskey. I don't remember who exactly makes it,
An Irish whiskey.
but it's affordable, about as cheap as or cheaper than Jameson. County Louth, Ireland. You'll have to try it. It's delicious.
Thank you. I think I
80
would.
proof.
But now back on the topic at hand, that I am very happy and I feel quite blessed that we live in a society in a day and age where they make it easier to get into fitness than it would have been had we been born, say, 50, 60 years ago. And I think, at least for me, one of that main aspects is just the calorie tracking aspect. I can now have on my phone right in front of me a way where I can keep track of everything that I've eaten throughout the day instantly as soon as I eat
Yeah.
it. And that is, like, as I said before, one of the best ways that helps me stay trackable. That's not even. Thank you.
On track.
On track. Thank you.
It's definitely the number one thing. If to give any advice, is caloric deficit is the best way to lose weight. So
Yeah. So
if you're not in a deficit, then you're not losing weight. So
I think I've heard it said before, what abs are made in the kitchen, not the gym.
Yep. If there's any Spartans out there listening, they're probably cursing me for drinking Guinness right now. Yeah, the deficit is the strong suit. If your body range tells you need 1900 and you eat at 1800 consistently, and even without moving much throughout the day, you'll likely lose weight.
Yes.
But
yeah.
That's the most basic fitness goal.
It is. And speaking of like just living in a time where finding out that information is just so readily available, I would not be where I am today without the help of being able to look up articles and magazines online.
Macro counts.
Yeah, the technology and like just the other amount of input from individuals who have succeeded in their fitness goals has made it just so much easier to be able to find out the information that you are looking for.
You get all your info from the Instagram models, or
no, I do not have Instagram, Stephen. Thank you.
I think I used MyFitnessPal for the calorie tracking, but I do jump on that bandwagon of, hey, everybody should at least track things for a year. You track things religiously for a year, and I don't care if you quit at that point, because once you do it for a year straight, you find out exactly how your body reacts to stuff and what is the right portions and all that sort of thing.
Portions being such a big aspect, like, me being born in America, I didn't exactly know how to eyeball or measure 6 ounces of steak, but
that's a plateful, right?
Yeah.
Plate is.
But after having counted my calories more diligently, I have gotten better about that aspect, knowing what like a quarter of a cup actually is, if a glass of milk versus, 24 ounces of milk.
Yeah.
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 I have gotten better about that. So, but just staying accountable either through yourself or with, partners such as your running partner can
Yeah.
make a big difference.
Oh yeah, if we're going into accountability partners, man, they move heaven and earth for me. My personality will not leave someone hanging. I felt so bad yesterday because we were supposed to run in the morning. We ended up doing it in the afternoon because I slept in. And I was beating myself up for half the day for sleeping in.
Hey, but you made it out there, right?
We did make it out. It
Yeah.
worked out. And that was a magical thing that it did. But speaking of when I was in the most fit of my life, that was when I did have another accountability buddy. And it was like, you going to the gym this morning? Yeah, I'm going to the gym. All right, I'm going too then.
Yeah, that
So
can make a
it goes a
huge
far
difference.
way, yeah. Just get it on the schedule and do it if you're out there sitting down, listening to us. Listen to us while you're moving.
Yes, and if you need an accountability partner, yeah, hit us up. We will help you succeed as much as we can.
Yeah, email PJ. He'll do all the work for you.
All right. I could use an accountability partner myself, and we'll succeed together.
Yeah.
Now, the fitness has some, I mean, like, as we've mentioned before, some of these topics we cover, their entire podcast dedicated to.
Oh yeah, that's why I
This-
love this concept of relating it back to parenting, because then we can talk about anything.
We really can. But yeah, and I don't ever want anyone to think that, parenthood is a limitation to the amount of physical fitness that one can achieve. It
Yeah.
just, so much of it really comes down to your determination of how much you want to have your physical fitness goals be met while also still
Yeah.
being there for your family.
Yeah. And a lot of it, if you're focused on it and training and counting and everything, your kids will see it and they'll learn and mimic with you.
This is
So,
very true. Yeah,
that's
I
awesome.
couldn't be more proud of my eldest, at the point where he is at. And I can't say that I influenced him a significant amount, but I hope at least part of his determination, came from seeing me and his mom earlier, just being more dedicated.
Leading by example goes a long way.
It really does.
We'll have a whole podcast on leadership.
Yeah, well, let's put it on the whiteboard. I like it.
Oh man, one more story before we go, and that's talking about Catherine trying to squeeze things in. We had a couple nights where our oldest couldn't sleep back in the day, and so she just started doing squats while holding the baby. And every night after that, for like 2 months straight, we had to knock out like 20, 30 squats before the baby would fall asleep. So probably for a couple months there, that was our exercise, was bedtime.
Oh, that's amazing. And like, you couldn't get your child to sleep without the squats.
Yeah.
I love it.
So we were motivated to get a workout in before bed.
Accountability partners, people.
Yeah. So part of me, I guess, is sad that she stopped crying at some point. Could have had some guaranteed squats at least.
It's a cool story.
Well, thanks for joining us, everyone.
No, thank you. And as always, if you have any advice, other things you want to hear about, or even more about this subject, please reach out.
Yep. Thanks for listening to Dad's Discuss.
Please like and subscribe wherever you are listening.
Also, comment any topics you would like us to discuss and share this with your friends and family.
Finally, if you would like to be on the podcast or discuss any topics, please reach out via our contact information below.
Fitness cheeseburger in my mouth.